This is What's New Radio Extra Time. Each month, we share a longer interview with one of our guests in the energy sector on topics highlighting our services and our 100-100 vision for Barbados. COVID safety protocols are still in place, so joining me online to talk about hurricane preparedness are my two guests, Majella Eno, our facilities supervisor, and Corey Worrell, a simple Bajan with an opinion who exists to make lives better, and a customer from St. James. Welcome to What's New Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
It's so good to have you here. Corey, let's start with you. How did the ash affect you, and how is the cleanup going?
Well, I would say the ash is affecting me still. The ash was horrible, and it was and still is a nuisance. And it has caused considerable discomfort for my family. And the thing is, though, that the ash was no respect of person, so I am not unique in my experiences. I live very close to a highway, so cleaning up early didn't make much sense because as soon as I cleaned it up, car would pass, truck would pass, and blow it all down. So about 2 weeks ago was the first time that I actually did any major cleaning, and the neighbor and I took 8 straight hours just to clean my driveway. Just the driveway. Yeah. But it's not a lot like what I have seen some people have gone through. But I would say that it requires a lot of effort and a lot of time. And I'm faced with reality that I am not 25 and all the young and stuff anymore. So after that 8-hour episode, I thought I was dying. My wife came and checked on me. Yeah, it was dread. I woke up the next day, all the back pain. You got muscles that you ain't used in a while. So right now, I am at the stage of hiring someone to come and power wash the yard and do the size of the house and stuff. And they actually came yesterday to do a consultation. But inside, that's just to deal with outside, But inside, we are still getting ash. The particles are much, much smaller than, it's more like a dust now. But it's very, 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 very frustrating.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Corey. Majella, could you describe the scene at our garrison site before cleanup and what the cleanup effort was like?
Sure, Nicole. The site, like many areas in Barbados, was inundated with ash. The grounds, the vehicle fleet and parking bay, balconies, roofs, just about everywhere. The cleanup effort was overwhelming, required the use of an industrial sweeper. The effort is still ongoing with so many moving parts to consider.
Wow. Corey, let's just switch gears a bit. In my introduction, I mentioned that customers, while cleaning up after the ash, they're also looking to start securing their homes for hurricane season. What does your preparation consist of outside or around your home?
Well, I have a big family, so I don't necessarily wait until hurricane season to prepare, as hazards, various kinds can pop up basically at any time. If you're speaking about outside preparations, I am focusing now really on just making sure that rainwater has a clear path to run off. And I've also been in communications with my neighbor who has a massive mango tree of it, some of those branches, and they're full of green mangoes and stuff. Asking them to do some trimming. And I've been speaking to some, well, not yet, but I'll be planning to speak to some of my other neighbors regarding some items they have around their homes that could become missiles. Because oftentimes we only focus on our home, but the reality is just like the situation in St. Vincent, where it shows that we could be affected based on another country. The reality is that principle also applies during hurricane season. We could be impacted based on what happens at our neighbors' homes. And one other thing that I'm considering, though, is getting quotations too for some plywood. In the event that I need to board up, I am actually thinking about it.
Sounds like you're on the right track, Corey. This year, for the first time, we have also decided to secure basic hardware items which would assist us in effecting minor repairs immediately post-event. Based on our experience with COVID-19 and the ashfall, the likelihood of closures or shortages was really considered. In addition to that, our main focus on hurricane preparedness for our sites is to promote an environment of employee comfort, safety, and readiness to respond to national issues post-event. In essence, we secure our site and provide for our teams so that they can in turn provide service to you, the people of Barbados. Annually, we procure an adequate supply of non-perishable items and the drinking water for all staff who may be called upon to work post-event. In order to mitigate against flooding, we ensure that all guttering overhead and drains at ground level are cleared, especially in light of the recent ashfall. We also have an adequate supply of sandbags for placement near access and egress points to prevent the inflow of floodwater. We ensure that water tanks are serviced and our standby generator is serviced, fueled, and load tested. Arrangements are also made for tree trimming as may be necessary. In the interest of safety, though, I take this opportunity to urge you to contact us at the Barbados Light and Power to assist with trimming of trees which may have grown into our power lines. Additionally, we arrange for servicing and testing of hurricane shutters. We carry out site inspections to ensure that our site is clean and free of debris, which can become missile should there be storm or hurricane force winds.
That's really great, Majella. Corey, what about inside your home? How do you prepare for hurricane season?
Well, inside the house is a different animal altogether because, during any system, that's where we spend most of our time. One of the things that we have already started is to do some decluttering and getting rid of some things that we don't use or things that we can give away. And we do that because during the system, one of the things you want to make sure is that your floor is clean, most things are put away, so that if you do have to leave or you have to move around, especially in the dark, that is easy to do. We've also been checking, well, not being me, I've been checking and updating our surge protectors. I had to throw away 2 recently, and we're about to buy a new battery backup system, hopefully one that can give us at least 46 hours, or other one that battery dead. We have had additions to the family, so we are now augmenting our flashlights and lamps. So we have new flashlights and lamps to purchase. I've already identified those. Our battery storage, battery meaning like size D, AAA, AA. We pulling up another set of those and buying also a new power bank for our cell phones because electricity could go off, and we have one each for our wife. One for my wife, one for myself. But there's going to be a backup one in case one of those go dead. We have to complete our family evacuation plan as well. We had one from before. I have to update that. And our perishable foods list, we have that throughout the year. Last year, what happened with us is during hurricane season when I went to get some stuff, we realized stuff was expired. So we don't want that to happen during the event, So wifey, only this week, wifey was doing the list of things like that. And this may seem strange to people, but we are actually at the point now of further duplicating our main documents. So things like our marriage certificate or the children's birth certificates. So what would happen is we get those done at the registry so that one set goes to my mom's house, one set goes to my mother-in-law's house, and one set stays at mine. So if something happens, my house is damaged, etc., at least those documents are prepared. And, one thing I would also say is that the preparations that we take at home, I also include my mother, who doesn't live with us, and my in-laws. And I don't only do this sort of thing for myself and my family. There are a lot of friends that will connect with me when it comes to these things. One of the things too that we do, we purchased a cooler. And when a system is upon us, whether it's a tropical depression, a tropical storm, a storm or a hurricane, even if it's a tropical wave, I would fill that cooler with ice, right? I would go and buy a big bag of ice. If I could get the fish ice, even better. But I would fill that cooler with ice. And what happens is there are certain food items in the freezer that in the event that the current goes off, I would wait until it starts to not defrost, but I don't need to open the freezer immediately. But from the time it's being out for a while, I would put those things inside of there. One other thing I would add is that I have more than one gas bottle. I don't have the 100-pound ones, but I bought more than one of the shortest cylinder ones. Actually, I have 3. And the reason for that is that during a disaster, if a country declares a disaster, one of the things that you always want to be able to do is to be able to cook. You must be able to cook. So I have more than one gas bottle for that reason, as well as if a neighbor doesn't have one, I can still give them one and still be able to supply for myself. We can also talk about medication, having enough medication for the children. And there are certain medications that children use all the time, whether it's the Aramol or we ain't got to go through them, but there's a lot that can be done in the preparation for a hurricane. So let me show you a simple thing. You'll be surprised how this one thing I'm going to tell you will make the biggest difference between how you go through a disaster. snacks. People don't include snacks in their storage because watch it. There's only so much ramen you can eat. There's only so much biscuit and rice, and there's only so much. So what's happened is because you know you gotta do it, you do it. But imagine that after you eat that, every child gets a pack of tea time biscuits, or everybody gets just a small chocolate, or everybody get a pack of chips.
To be honest, Corey, your preparation is impressive. And we would really like to hear that more Barbadians are moving along those lines. Additionally, I would encourage people not to overstock their refrigerators and to set them on the coolest settings to preserve food for a longer period should there be an outage. You did mention battery-powered emergency lighting, and we would really admonish people not to use candles or kerosene lamps, as safety is of great importance.
Corey, that sounds like a really impressive, like Majella said, and comprehensive approach to being prepared this season. Majella, was there anything you wanted to add before we wrap up?
The only other thing I would add, Nicole, is that this time around, we need to consider that if weather conditions necessitate us going to a shelter, that we have to be equipped with enough hand sanitizer and masks and all of that in light of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes.
So that's it from me.
Thank you, Majella. That was a really good and relevant point for us to end this discussion on. Thank you once again so much for joining us. Stay well and please be safe.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
What's New Radio is broadcast on radio every month, or you can listen to past episodes on our website, blpc.com.bb. Find us on social media at BLPC Online or tweet BLPC. Our customer service team is always ready to serve you. Call 626-4300 during office hours or 626-9000 for emergency assistance.